So I forgot to show this earlier on the other when we ran it earlier, but there's this peak plans button down here once the report is done. If we go and look at peak plans, well, because this one was so efficient, there weren't very many showing up. So let's do something here. Let's add another query and then run the load test again and see what we can do here. So we're going to go back to this pre-prepared query, get order items by order. Rather than having an order ID hard-coded in there, I know that there are orders between 0 and 1,000,000 in this table. So what I'm going to do is use this absolute value of the checksum of a new ID mod 1000 to generate random numbers between, sorry, not 1,000, 1,000,000, between 0 and 1,000,000, and then feed that into the get order items by order. And let me just show you an example. Every time we run this, we get a different set of results.
So it's more or less another way to generate parameters without pasting a parameter table into there.
Correct. Yep. So then what I'm going to go here is I'm going to say add. I'm going to add another query in here. There's my query. And then I'm going to test it. There we go. It took 173 milliseconds to test it. So then if I leave these both enabled and weighted the same, I'm going to run the load test again, and it's going to do 50% of them are going to run one query and 50% are going to run the other query. Let's not go 2,000 because I know this one's going to break. Let's just go 1,000 and see where it breaks. And then we'll run the load again and watch and see what happens on this test. So here, 3-minute overall load test. In reality, I like to run them longer if we're doing like real customer stuff. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes will give you better details, but the podcast would have gone really long if we made you wait for 8 different load tests that each took 5 minutes to 10 minutes.
So we've been running pretty quick ones just for the sake of the podcast. Could I set this to run for 5 hours and just leave it overnight?
Yes. And not to jump the gun here, but we do have a demo of how you can run it and like on a scheduled task, you can kick it off in headless mode, which we'll get to that in just a moment. But I want to see this load test finish first. But what we've got now on the latency down below is we can see there's 2 different latencies that we're getting there. There's query 1 and query 2 in the blue and the red. And you can see that query 2 is much more poorly performing versus query 1. And our overall throughput combining both of these queries has dropped down to about 150 rather than up around 8,000 like we were seeing before.
We can see the active sessions dropping off there too.
Exactly. I was about to say that as well. We hit our peak and it's been dropping ever since. And now we're starting to see errors where things are timing out. Yeah, because connections are being used up and they're not able to, they're timing out. So we're going to let this finish. And when this finishes, I want to go look and see what we can learn about this query, pretending we don't know what index it needs.
So we do know, we've kind of prefaced this one, we do know that this query specifically is missing an index and it would benefit from that. Are there other recommendations that the load tests can make beyond indexes?
Yes. And part of that we're going to see in just a moment with our plan analysis. So we're going to be able to look at the execution plan and learn from the execution plan. And I was doing this yesterday with a client that they were having a really long running query, and we went and looked at our execution plan analysis, and it just completely blew his mind with being able to show all of the reasons that his query was running really slow.
And I guess for some clarity, if this isn't a execution plan like you would see in Management Studio, this is an execution plan put into plant language, right?
So here's the deal. SQL Server generates execution plans. And it's XML that tells you everything about the query. Oh, our plan button is gone this time. Maybe if we got too many errors, let's run this one more time. Let's just go with like 400 sessions for 1 minute each. That might be a bug we've discovered there that we need to fix, Mitch. So this will run for 2 minutes. But back to your question about, well, is it the same plan we see in SQL Server Management Studio? It's the same data behind it, but we choose to represent it and show things differently compared to what Management Studio chooses to show.
It's a bit more digestible than crawling through Management Studio Plan. Of course, there's nothing wrong with knowing how to go through that execution plan, and you should be able to. A good DBA will know how to read through that, but putting it into plain language to show others is also a very, very handy tool. Is Here's another question: is that kind of plain language execution plan that we show in this program limited to this program only? Or say I have an execution plan myself that I pulled off of my own testing in Management Studio and I've saved it. What can I do with that?
Well, that's a great question. Let me show you. If I start up while we're waiting for this query to run, we got another minute here. I can do a quick plan viewer demo. From the start menu, I went to Database Health Monitor and chose plan viewer. And here is a plan that was sent from a client running Database Health Monitor, and it was something that they found in Database Health Monitor that wasn't behaving well. So you can take any SQL plan that you save out of SQL Server Management Studio and open it up in our plan viewer and get all kinds of information here about what's going on with it and recommendations, problems, clustered index, scalar UDF, function applied in the column and the predicate, all those kind of things. And so, yes, this is available there. It's also available in Database Health Monitor. There are many places that we will now show you the plan on the query. Okay, the load test finished. Good commercial interlude there. Let's go look at the peak plans and see what we saw. So we can see the query that keeps showing up is select all this stuff from order items. And if we double click on it, there is our plan analysis. And what's interesting is this is the test. So there's also the fix for it we had in our comments here from earlier. But we're going to pretend that that comment is not there telling us what the fix is. But it's get order items by order number. And it's doing this select statement to do that. The reason that that's slow, well, 100% of the total cost is associated with that. And it's equivalent to almost 4,000 simple index lookups with the amount of work that's being done there. And the clustered index scan, well, this table only has a clustered index on it right now, which is not recommended. And then here it is, it's recommending that we add this index from the plan analysis. We have analyzed what's in there and present this index as an option to add to improve the overall throughput. Should we just take that index as it's suggested there, Mitch, and give it a try?
I would say no. I mean, I know that index is going to work. I would say don't always do that. You got to know what you're doing, what the index is. Look at it before you do it. But this one is good to have.
Okay, so let's go look at it then. We have the table order items. Order items, indexes. Oh, there's only the primary key on it. Okay, so the primary key is probably on the order ID or order item ID. Yep, there it is. And so this is on orders ID. So I would rename this to like order items, order ID. And I think looking at understanding the structure of this table, that's probably not only a safe, but a smart index to add. So never just blindly grab it and run it, though. That's a good point.
Instead of looking in the Object Explorer at that table too, is there another way?
Oh, yeah, we can go to order items here and hit Alt F1, and that gives us information on the table. And we can go down and see that here's all the indexes and what keys are in them. And we can see also that the one we just added is listed there as well.
That's one of my favorite magic hotkeys that nobody really knows about.
Yeah. Okay. So the index is added. You can see that this at peak runtime, these are all the queries that were taking time, and they're all showing the same plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this and just run the load test again. Let's do it one more time with the exact same settings. And it's 1 minute ramp up and 1 minute runtime, and we're going to see how it looks. Well, the thing I'm seeing right off the bat was that our throughput on the last test, I think, was maxing out around 150. And now we're already up closer to or approaching 750. So yeah, things are running a lot better this time from what I can see.
Same thing with the latency.
Yep. Yep. Latency. I guess I should size the window a little bit larger so we can see all the reports.
And that CPU, the CPU is staying below 25%.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we see a lot of the times with load testing is that we either run out of CPU or we hit a lot of blocking, one or the other usually. And considering that the price of your SQL server is often tied to the number of CPUs, cores that you have, being able to reduce CPU on your load overall could reduce your cost to your SQL server if you reduce the cores, or it would prevent you from having to grow to that next level. So many times I've seen people see, well, we're 100% CPU. Well, let's just upgrade to that next more expensive server, or we'll upgrade the number of cores on the SQL server, thus upgrading your SQL server licensing at the same time. Well, it'd be a lot cheaper to throw an index in the right place or to find what's wrong with a bad query and fix it than it would be to double the price of your cores in your SQL server.
Yeah, I think it's not often weighted enough as the cost of the physical hardware, or if you're on something like Azure, the cost of these resources isn't cheap. You can't just max out a SQL server and then say, oh, let's just double the size. It's oftentimes not cost effective, especially with the cost of everything going up too. So having someone on your team or knowing who to call to say, hey, we need to reduce these costs. It's not just a, hey, we've made the server faster. It's an actual tangible cost benefit that you can reap by making things faster.
Thanks for watching. I'm Steve, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, please click the thumbs up icon. And if you want to subscribe, click subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified when we have new videos. All right, have a great day.